We are back for another exciting episode of the Hashtag Wednesday Match Play. We missed last week, and I don't even know why we missed last week, but I'm pumped to be back tonight because the guy that we have tonight, I connected with a long time ago via Twitter and a handful of other social networks. But I'm excited for tonight, one, because this guy's got a lot of stuff to talk about, and I'm going to rush through the intro a little bit because I do want to let him talk. But he's got a little bit of a connection to Tiger, and that wasn't what actually started our conversation from the beginning. So, that's just kind of like, the silver lining, as they say. But tonight's Wednesday Match Play, as always, is presented by Eat Sleep Golf. And the team from Eat Sleep Golf is actually kind of on, on assignment, so to speak. They've been traveling around a little bit, and I haven't really been talking to those guys very much lately, but hopefully they're out there watching tonight. But tonight's guest is I don't know the easiest. Like, you can't say he's a golf pro. You can't say he's a golfer. Like, he's got a lot of stuff going on. This guy wears a lot of hats. But Steve Scott is from Paramount Country Club. And versus me trying to explain what he does, how he does it, and how often he does it, and how well he does it, because we know he's a good golfer based on the fact that he's played with Tiger, I'm going to let him take it over, take a couple of minutes to explain who he is, and what he does. Hey, welcome to the Wednesday Match Play.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Rick.
So take a couple of minutes and talk about who you are, what you do, what your role is at Paramount, and just explain a little bit about what you do in the golf business.
Yeah. No, it was my fifth season. 350 total members at our club, and I run all the operations from all the golf operations, from the golf shop to my assistant professionals to the club tournaments. I teach a lot of lessons during the year, and I play. I play competitively. The Metropolitan PGA section is arguably the toughest PGA section in the country. And actually, incidentally, we just had our qualifier for the National Club Professional Championship today. Just finished up, and fortunately, I just squeaked in, so I'll be coming out west to Sun River Resort out in Bend, Oregon next June. So pretty psyched for that. It's a hard section and a lot of great players. Four of the guys who finished ahead of me in the tournament just played in the PGA Championship a couple of weeks ago at Baltusrol. So you can tell how difficult the section is.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I've not actually heard of that club in Bend. I've been to Bend before. When you're there, make sure you check out Pronghorn. Selfless plug to the Troon facilities when we can. But Pronghorn is an unbelievable facility. 36 holes, 18 private, 18 daily fee, and Bend. And as I sit here and I sip on a glass of beer, Bend is a craft beer mecca. So make sure you when you're not prepping and or playing, that you, maybe when you are playing, have a local craft beer. Well, very cool. Well, I don't know a ton about the Met, and we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. But I'm interested because you work at a country club, and I always enjoy talking to pros at country clubs, and I'm always curious what people that work for private clubs, what they think a good club is. So taking yourself out of the shoes that you're in and working at a club like that you do, what, in your opinion, makes a good golf club a good golf club? Is it just the golf course? Is it the amenities? Is it the experience? Like, to you, what makes a good golf club experience?
Yeah, I think it's everything from when you approach the staff or by the club, how warm and well that you. And those factors play into it pretty good. And then, the golf course is the meat and potatoes of it, really. At Paramount, we have a A.W. Tillinghast design that was restored in the last few years by Jim Urbina. We won a pretty nice award for Golf Magazine in there about 3 years ago. And I don't know, it's all those things. But the golf course really is the meat and potatoes of it. And if we have A.W. Tillinghast greens and they get pretty slopey and pretty tough, and you definitely got to keep them below the hole because they were not meant for 12 in the stent meter for sure.
That's a fast green. I'm from the Midwest, and I'm used to putting on, if it gets to 8 or 9, that's an aggressive fast green. So tell me about your history. Like, where did you start, and what has been your growth pattern to get to Paramount? Where have you come from, and what has been your journey to get to where you are today?
Well, I played professionally, had a nice amateur career, and then I started played professionally for 6 years from 1999 to 2005. And I realized in that 6 years and going to 6 tour schools that, I didn't quite hit it long enough. I hit it, I still hit it, 280, 290, 300 when I get it. But, the guy fly at 290 or 300 now. And so anyway, I decided that, hey, I had some friends in the business that really kind of helped me get going. I learned a lot from Bob Toski, a great instructor. He's almost 90 years old. He lives down in South Florida right now, and he really got me motivated to become a teacher. And teaching got me into wanting to become a program. Got into it in 2005 and finished in about a year and a half. And just took off from there. Worked at Memorabilia Country Club in Summit, New Jersey for a couple of years. Worked at Hidden Creek Golf Club near Atlantic City. And then I got my first head professional job at a club called The Ridge near Princeton, New Jersey in 2009. And I've been in Paramount here in just outside New York City. I've been in Paramount since 2012. So, that's kind of the career in a nutshell.
That's pretty cool, and I didn't realize that connection to Bob. I'm friends with, not that I'm hanging out with him on the weekends, but I'm friends with him on Facebook. So I'll make sure that he sees this interview because he's is he really 90 years old? There is no way. Like, I feel like just talking to him, he just does not seem like. I mean, he's got so much knowledge and he's been around the game for so long. But that's really cool that he was a mentor to you and got you into that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite hole at Paramount? I mean, obviously you're playing the golf course. I mean, you've got a storied past with playing the game, and now that you're teaching the game, and you're still playing, obviously, and obviously still playing well. But what's your single favorite hole at the golf course?
I think it would be our 18th hole. Our 18th hole is par 3. You're from the back playing uphill, and it's what Tillinghast. He had coined it a reef hole, and basically it's how the bunkering sits in a diagonal fashion away from the player's left to far right, and the further right you carry, the further right you go, the further the bunker you have to carry, and it's a really stout par 3 to finish. A lot of our members have to hit a fairway wood or a hybrid or that sort of thing, and it's got some kicker mounts to the left. If you hit a little left, you can kick it off a little, and a hidden bunker in the back left, which is pretty cool. But it was one of those. It was a hole that he had a template on a few of them. I think he had a reef hole at maybe on the yellow course at some point. Maybe Newport Country Club as well a while back. So anyway, yeah, that would probably be our showstopper hole.
Now, you don't see there. That's only the second course, actually the third course, because I played on a course in high school that my career round, I finished in the dark. I birdied the last hole in the dark. That was the par 3, 18th hole. So you don't see that very often. So that's and I'm not too familiar with his design. So that's pretty cool that you wrap it up on a par 3. Well, par 3, short par 4 to some, but
yeah, right, exactly.
Now, so you talk about it being a long par 3. Now, you recently played Bethpage Black. Now, I'm curious, 2-part question. 1, did you play the tips? And 2, what did you shoot?
We played the New York State Open there, and thank God not every hole was all the way back on the tips, because some of those par 4s get to be over 500 yards, and you've got to carry a pretty large expanse of bunkering. And so, but we still played it pretty long. If the golf course is, let's say, 73, 70, I shot, what did I shoot? I shot 3 over for 2 rounds. So it was a 70, par 71. Yeah, par 71. I think I shot 72, 74, 70, and finished 3rd place in the New York State Open. Even par was the winning score. So the Barclays is coming up pretty soon at Bethpage. So the golf course is just immaculate. It's so good, so fair, but it's a beast tee to green.
So you talk about hitting the ball like 280, 290, 300. I can do that downhill, downwind, and I hit a cart path. 260, 270 is good where I come from, but I'm going to allow that. So the team from Eat Sleep Golf, and this is a great question, and I always am excited to ask this question to guys that play the same course quite a bit. Have you birdied collectively every hole at your club?
It's a good question. I would have to say my ringer score together yet, but yeah, I would say I made a par 5 over for the whole golf course.
I'm good, not good friends. Again, not friends like where I'm calling him on a Saturday to see what he's up to. But Matty, he's a young kid, and he's in the Google Plus golf community, and he posts a ton of content on YouTube. And he's a young kid, and he's trying to birdie 18 holes in a row. And he said that it's never been done before. Why can't he go out and do it? So that's his kind of his mission and his goal and kind of his mentality. So, it's interesting. To my home course, I don't play it as much as I'd like, but I've had 7, 8, 10 birdies collectively. So to think that he could play the same course enough to be able to birdie them all, that's pretty cool. So yeah, it was a long time ago, and it's kind of a good timing though. So it's 20 years ago this year. You had the opportunity to play with, he's above me, Tiger, in the '96 U.S. Amateur. Now, go way back. Talk about that experience. Kind of what led you to that. I mean, obviously in '96 he wasn't who he is today, but talk about what that experience was like. Just kind of elevator pitch me what it was like to play on the same, not only the same golf course, but then in the same group with the guy that is, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time. And agree or disagree. I mean, I use the hashtag GOAT, which is greatest of all time, on Twitter almost daily in a retweet or a quote retweet with him, because he is the reason why I'm in the game. He's the reason why I follow the game of golf. But take us back to '96. What was that like? And just kind of the overall, a chapter in your book of your life. What was it like to play with him in the '96 US Am?
Wow, that whole entire week was it was pretty surreal. Number one, I shouldn't even have been in match play. I shot 79 the first round of stroke play, Ricky. And in the US Amateur, 312 players. After one round, I think I was 230th or something. And the top 64 make match play. So I was basically booking after one round. And I just 6 in the second day shot. And that I did about every shots. Just the whole golf tournament is 7 days long. So once you get to that final, and now I'm playing a 36-hole final after playing 6 full days of tournament golf. I'm pretty tired, but I got my adrenaline pumping. So a couple of really remember that day, 7:50 tee time. And the whole entire first hole is a 420-yard par 4 at Pumpkin Ridge out in Portland, Oregon. And the whole entire hole was lined with people at 7:15 in the morning. I would imagine they could have been at church. They could have been somewhere else, at IHOP, but they came out and watched the match. And, among the crowd was Nike founder and CEO Phil Knight. He was out there. I think they had a little Nike thing in the works prior to that event, but we'll leave that story for another time. But I really thought I had a great chance to win. I walked down the first fairway, and my wife my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, Christy, I said, I was so confident that day. I said, this guy's got no chance. I'm going to kill him. And, you know, I almost did. I almost slayed him. I shot 68 in the morning 18, and he shot maybe equivalent 76 or something. I was 5 up after 18 holes. And so picture this, you're 5 up after 18 holes, and I'm going to give you a 2 under par round in the second 18. And you're going to win 99 out of 100 matches. But that one match you don't win is against a guy named Tiger Woods. And that was me. That was me. I shot 2 under par in the second 18. He shot 7 under. And how about this for a stat? She hit 28 of the last 29 greens of the match. Very much. Well, it was silly.
That is bananas.
And the second, he was down on his par. He hit his 260, 265, and he would get it out there. And so he would do that, and he would hit first into the greens and try to put the pressure on me, and which he did. He put some definite pressure on me, but we went 2 extra holes. So we went 38 holes in the match, and I lipped out about a 6-footer for a par, and that was it. And then he went on and said, "Hello, world."
Wow. Well, I remember that interview when he said "Hello, world," and like I said, you see him above me. He's over there. There's figurines, there's posters, there's pictures, there's autographs. Like, it's funny. So I've met him a few times, and I've never had anything signed from him with him. I've always had to get the autographs after the fact. I've got a glove signed. I got some ball signed. I think the coolest Tiger memorabilia that I have as a collector, I was a standard bearer at the 2002 PGA at Valhalla, and I have a sleeve of balls that he hit on the range. It's because his logo is on the balls that he hits on the range, so they can basically take the balls that he hit one time, put them in a sleeve, and sell them for $30 a sleeve.
Oh, I do that too. I have my own golf balls.
I would love to give you $30 for a sleeve of golf balls with you, like, just to make, because of the fact that you lipped out, and like that story. Like, I honestly, so I have a blog outside of what I do here in the golf community and here on YouTube, and you and I are going to have you and I need to play 18 holes of golf together. So like that needs to happen at some point, whether it's in New York or it's in Bend or it's in Scottsdale or wherever it happens. I would just love to be able to hear more about that day and that experience, to be able to take the guy that, in my opinion, is the greatest of all time. And I'm going to ask that question. This is not on my list of questions for you, but do you think where he is and sits today, is he the greatest golfer of all time?
Is he the greatest golfer of all time? His best is better than any. He manhandled, winning. Certainly in this era, I mean, it's certainly a toss-up. People say Jack had maybe less competition than Tiger. Tiger's best. He could flip a switch better than anybody. If his game was not on, he would find a way to hit a flop shot in a hole, or he would find a way to get something done. And he's one, if not the best, one of the 2 best. It's pretty cool to really too bad that his body is not allowing him to continue right now. Hopefully he comes back and surprises all of us, but who knows.
To your point about the competition, I almost think that the competition is what it is today because of him, that he forced the Fowlers and the Jordan Spieths, and granted, I mean, there are guys like Henrik Stenson and these guys that are the same age, or in some cases maybe even older than him, that are winning and still playing well and shooting 15, 16, 18 under par for the course of 4 rounds. But I think that, there are guys like Phil Mickelson that says, I'm a millionaire because of Tiger, and I can't not thank him for what he's done. But then at the same time, there are guys like Ricky Fowler, that would he even be on the tour without a guy like Tiger? So that puts a lot of pressure on somebody like Tiger. And I've always said, because I'm his biggest fan, I have to sit down and have coffee with him, and I'll even buy. I mean, here I am talking to a billionaire that should be buying the Starbucks we're sitting in, but I'll buy him coffee to have a 20-minute conversation just to let him know, even the conversation that you and I had about why I'm into him and why I even know what the game of golf is because of him. And it's really cool to be able to sit here and have a conversation with somebody that's stood next to him while he hit balls and stood next to him while he played golf, and that took him to extra holes. So that's really cool. So I got to know now, being a Florida guy, what is the Gator clamp? Talk about that.
Well, it's really soon after that U.S. Amateur match. I think I probably put too much pressure on myself to play great. And anyway, I've had putting problems for a long, long time. I putted like Bernhard Langer style, and he putted with a short putter, kind of grasping the forearm. And then I putted with a long putter for quite a while. Most of my professional career, playing tournament golf from that 99-2005 window I alluded to earlier. But, when they had this ban, the anchoring ban at the end of 2012, and they announced it, I said, I got to figure something else out. I can't putt with this broomstick anymore. I'm going to, in a few years, I'm going to have to figure something out. So in my basement in the winter, I figured that, I took the Bernhard Langer thing that I did, and then I combined that with like a Chris DeMarco sort of pronated right hand. And so I clamped my right hand in that pronated position. It's and your viewers can actually look at it on GatorClampPutting.com, or they can look it from my website, stevescottpga.com, and has links to it all. And I've had some nice notoriety of it as in the last year. I had a live studio segment with Charlie Reimer on the Golf Channel on Morning Drive back in January, and article in Golf Digest about it this year as well. So it's a cool alternate way. Problems if your hands don't behave, if you've got the yips, which I have, and I managed through them today somehow in my qualifier for the Club Pro. I don't know how I did it, but it's another way to kind of trick your brain into holding a putt, and that's basically what you have to do when you have putting problems. So anyway, hopefully people take a look at that and give it a try. If their hands don't behave, give it a shot.
So it's funny that you say that, because the big grips that have come out, that Spieth uses them, the Super Stroke grips, like that's supposed to take the hands out of the putt or what have you. And I've not always been a great putter, but I'm a pretty good putter, right? Well, my distance control is my biggest concern, where if it's a 45-foot putt and I got a 2-putt, that's where I struggle. But if it's an 18-foot putt, I'm going to either make it or it's going 3 feet past the hole. And two things that I've done on my personal putting, and this is a good segue into the next question. I've always putted past the hole, because if it doesn't get to the hole, it ain't going in the hole. But I literally was standing, it was 3 years ago, I was standing at a Whole Foods, and it was during the Phoenix Open, and the Whole Foods is a block from the Phoenix Open, right? TPC Scottsdale. And I see Justin Leonard, and he's on the phone, and he's talking, whatever, and I don't interrupt him by any means. But I remember him, as soon as I saw him, I remembered he had done after – I don't think it might have been the Ryder Cup. I don't know if he played in the Ryder. It was maybe the President's Cup. It was a big event like that, where he had made a putt that was not a putt that he should have made, right? Well, in his post-round interview, he had said, if the putt is below the hole, it never had a chance of going in. So the same thing, that if it doesn't get to the hole, it's not going in. And if it's below the hole, it's not going in. So if I miss a putt, whether it's a 2-footer or a 20-footer, it's past the cup, and it's on the pro side of the cup. So everybody that's watching golf and playing golf can relate to that. So I'm going to do some digging on that Gator clamp. But to the Super Stroke comment that I just had, I use the ping putter grip that Tiger uses, because that I almost feel like I'm touching the shaft. Like, it's such a thin grip. I've always loved that grip too. And it's golf is hard, is what it boils down to. Now, I said that was a good segue, and that is a good segue to the point that of taking lessons. I've never had a legitimate, authentic lesson. Dan Attaway is a golf professional who lives in the Midwest, and he is who I consider both my personal trainer because he builds workouts for me, as well as my golf pro. He and I had a session 3 hours on a range 6 months ago. We've never had like an official golf lesson, so to speak. So let's say that I book a lesson with you. I show up, I've never met you before, I walk up and I shake your hand. What is that hour like? For me as a student, to you as the teacher, what does that lesson look like for us?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
A lesson. So let's say I book a lesson with you. What does that look like? From start to finish, what does our first lesson as if we've never met look like?
Well, I'd have to figure out what what your goals are, what you're trying to do with the game, how often you can practice, and those couple things are going to lead me to how much I give you, and what kind of practice regimen that I would prescribe for you, basically. Because you might have the golf swing. I think is just it's a piece of the pie when you're looking at a score. I think too many players put golf swing, like good swings, don't always equal good scores. And because if you don't navigate the golf course properly, if you're not positioning your ball properly, if you're not missing the ball where you need, you're gonna struggle. If you're not, eating on the golf course is important. So like I'm going to ask you, how often you eat, how often do you drink, what do you got to keep your brain engaged for that, 4.5 hours. I don't know if that beer that's next to you is going to help you with that, but
I'll drink to that.
It might make you a little bit more loose, but those things factor into it, and then if you're a good player, which you are, you said 2.2 handicap. So, you probably do 80% of things really, really well. Your pre-shot routine might be a little off. I'm going to look at that. I'm going to look at, where's your bad miss coming from? Maybe your grip is a little funky, but if you're a good player, I'm not going to change your grip. I'm going to change something else within your game to fix. So that's probably what it would look like without seeing you make a golf swing.
That's cool because I to the point that you're not going to change the grip. Like my grip's been the same since I played high school golf. I mean, from the very beginning, it was you have three options: you hold the shaft, you overlap, or you interlock. And I was like, it doesn't even remotely feel good to do anything but interlock. So I've always interlocked. Now where the position of the club or what have you. But even as a golfer, you say words like miss, and I'm immediately going to every club in my bag, knowing where that miss is. The driver, it's right, but when I miss right, I know why I missed right. The driver, when it's left, I know why I missed left. So maybe I need to take a lesson just to, and Dan, if you're watching, you need to come back to Scottsdale so we can have a lesson. So that's cool to think that, and every pro is going to be different. Every professional is going to have a different mindset and how they navigate with their lessons. And I guess kind of, again, another not on the list of questions that I had, have you ever had a lesson that you had in your mind was going to go this way but went that way? I mean, does it change from student to student? Every
day you have to kind of ebb and flow and, listen to what they have to say about, you ask about, certain parts of what they're thinking, and, you got to get inside their head a little bit, and, you'll probably get an answer that maybe you didn't know or you didn't understand. I've had a student that you have people with physical limitations that maybe you find out 2 or 3 lessons into that they did first. Those into going to you have to with them.
So you alluded to the fact that you play professional for so long, I'm so enthralled when I talked. I mean, I don't know and haven't talked to a lot of guys that have played in one against Tiger, but have played in professional tournaments. And you spend some time in the Canadian Tour. And one of the questions that Eat Sleep Golf said was, "What was your most memorable experience of playing on the Canadian Tour?" And I'm sorry to anybody that may think Canadian Tour is not as on the same level as the PGA Tour or, you know, the European Tour or what have you. Like, you're a good player. Like, you're not a good player, you're a great player. So what was your experience on the Canadian Tour? Maybe talk about some of your highlights from your time on the Canadian Tour.
Yeah, fortunately, I had some pretty good success out there. I won. I played 3 years out there. I finished always finished in the top 10 on the money list. I had 2 victories. Probably the coolest victory I had out there of the 2 was I won in the largest playoff in Canadian Tour history. There were 6 players, and it went 6 holes. The 2000 and I guess it was the 2001 Vancouver Open, a club called Point Grey, and yeah, the playoff went 6 holes. We played in the rotation. We played a par 5 a couple times, played another par 5, and I think I made like 5 out of 6 birdies or something in the playoff. And I made a 40-footer on like the 3rd playoff hole just to stay in it. So that was pretty interesting, and so that would probably be my coolest memory of the. And that was only in my second start as a member, so that kind of set my Canadian Tour career in motion. That really helped.
That is so cool. I have a buddy that's on his path, and he might even be playing on the tour now. Todd Halpin, and Todd comes to Scottsdale to do lessons every now and then. He's a pro up there, and it's just I'm honored to be able to have conversations with guys like you and Todd and these people that I meet, because I mean, yeah, I'm a 2.2 and I can hang with my buddies on the weekends, but like, you guys are on such a different level, and you talk about making a 40-footer just to stay in it. Like, that's just, what a thrill to have those memories, and that's so cool. And you know, before we started tonight's hangout, I didn't tell you that it was going to fly by, and it did. We are literally over time. So I got a couple more questions that I'd love to ask, and I'm going to ask you after we go offline if we can do an interview for my blog, because I talked about my blog as well, and I do interviews in a written capacity over there. But before I let you go, and I know it's late where you are, so I'm gonna keep this quick. But we have what's called the back 9. It's just 9 fun questions that are, I mean, they're golf related, but they're not necessarily related to you. So are you ready for your back 9?
Great.
So I have to assume you have, but have you ever had an ace?
I had my first hole-in-one this year. I'm 39 years old. I've played golf for a long time, and I've only had 1 hole-in-one. And I made it this year at Canoebrook Country Club in Summit, New Jersey. So
no way. That is all. What was the yardage and what did you hit?
It was 157 up the hill. I hit an 8-iron, just kind of rode the wind, a couple hops right in the hole, and yeah, that was it. I can die a happy man. I didn't think I'd ever get one. I was hunting the hole my whole life, and it didn't ever go in, but this one finally dropped.
That is crazy cool. What golf ball do you play?
I play a TaylorMade Tour Preferred X ball.
Ooh, TaylorMade. Did not see that coming. No kidding.
Yeah, TaylorMade is a great company for me. They've helped me out a lot in the last 6-7 years. So they're great for the club professional. They've been great for me.
That's awesome. So you've played a lot of golf courses, obviously. You know, you've got the ability to go play your club whenever you want. So what publicly accessible club is the top of your must-play bucket list that you've never played?
Publicly,
Like, I can't say, like, you know, what course, because people will go to Augusta. Like, oh, it's Augusta. Like,
yeah, public that I haven't played. Man, that's a tough one. I don't know. I've played most of them. I guess maybe a resort, maybe up in like Wisconsin, maybe like Whistling Straits.
Okay, that's a good one.
That's probably get to.
So we just finished 18 holes. Let's have a drink. What are you ordering?
I'd probably just get a Coors Light. Real simple.
I like that. It's funny. I had a bad day, to be completely honest, and I went and got a growler of beer, and I saw Coors Light on the. I was thinking I was gonna get some of that. Like, that's just simple thing. I can drink 10 of them.
I don't drink a lot, but sometimes they taste good.
So who is your favorite LPGA Tour player? The LPGA has made, I mean, just in the last 12, 18 months, has made kind of a shift a little bit to where I was almost like, are they done? Are they going to go away? To now there is, you know, seemingly as popular as the PGA Tour. So who is your favorite LPGA Tour player?
I'd say Brooke Henderson's pretty cool to watch. Lydia Ko just doesn't let up ever. Lexi Thompson, she's aggressive. She plays solid. Yeah, I'd have to say probably those three. It's not one, but three probably.
That's all right, because that's a good trio of players right there. So when you're not playing your club, where do you like to play? Do you have clubs that you play frequently, or besides your place?
You know, we're lucky enough in the Met section we get to play some of the great clubs. So you know, every summer I get around, like we've talked about Bethpage Black before. We played Wingfoot last year for the Met Open. Century Country Club is another one we've played for U.S. Open qualifying. You know, a few around here that we get to play in our section tournaments I mean, there's some of the best. We're playing Glen Oaks this year in Long Island for the Met Open. They're going to host the Barclays in 2017 on the PGA Tour. So we get to a lot of the great ones, and they you know, they're tour championship venues.
So are you excited that golf is back in the Olympics, even though like the first 64 players they asked to play bailed? I mean,
I am pretty excited. I think it's going to be cool to see the Gil Hanse design down there. I've seen a couple of the features on Golf Channel, and yeah, I think the golf course has got some pretty cool strategy to it. Hanse is one of the best, if not the best in the business, and so yeah, I'm pretty excited to see the whole thing.
So be careful, because I know we've talked about Tiger and he beat you, but do you think Tiger breaks Jack's record? Why or why not?
I
don't like that you breathe heavy to start the answer.
I don't think so. I don't think his body is going to be ready to go and play that much golf and work as hard as he needs to work. And you know, I've been lucky. I've never had any back surgeries, but he's had surgeries on every part of his body, it seems like, multiple times. So I don't know. I say no.
If he comes back and he's 100% and he took the time off that he needed, which he never did, if he comes back healthy and he has 5 more years, maybe 7 of healthy play, could he? It's a little bit different way to think about it.
Yeah, he could for sure. No, he certainly could, and he'll probably break Snead's record. He could beat that pretty quickly of 82 wins, I think it is. He's got 79, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's very possible. If his body allows him to play and practice the way he needs to, you know, his mind is still there. It hasn't gone anywhere. I'm sure it's got some scar tissue on it, but, you know, yeah, I think it's absolutely possible he comes back.
All right. Well, that's a very polished, professional, responsible, not just no, move on answer. So I appreciate that. Now, your final question of your hashtag Wednesday match play, what's next? I mean, you've got a pretty good gig lined up where you're at now, and you're playing well, and you're playing a lot of golf, which is awesome. But what's next for you in your career?
Oh gosh, no, just keep doing what I'm doing here at Paramount. I love doing what I'm doing and being a golf professional, and you know, the teaching and the playing with the members. I'll be playing with members on the golf course tomorrow, and you know, just running the operation and helping mentor my assistant professionals really to get head professional jobs. I mean, that's kind of what's next. I serve on the board of directors for Bethpage. I co-chair the education committee. So you know, just kind of giving back to the game really, I think is next.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, the game is as good as it's ever been, in my opinion, from where I sit. It's different than where it was when I got into it, and it's cool to have guys like you that are out there grinding, not only teaching but also helping to grow the game of golf. And I appreciate you coming on to the hashtag Wednesday Match Play. It's been fun getting to know you, and I look forward to learning more about you. And again, I look forward to playing 18 holes, maybe 19, because you got a Coors Light coming your way. But I thank you so much for coming on the show. And as always, and we're over time here, so I know, again, it's late where you are, but as always, you have to remember to eat, sleep, golf.